Good morning, precious people. Here we are together. It's another fresh day. Look around you. It's beautiful. I'm so thankful for your irreplaceable light and the wisdom and experience that you bring into the world. Today's a gift. It's filled with possibility. So let's open the gift with kindness and curiosity. And remember, we're still growing and learning. So grab your nearest drink and let's check in with ourselves. Oh, you guys. I don't know what I did to it today. It's just amazing. My guess was that I put too much cream in it. It's so yummy. Did you drink your water today? I hope so. Hope you had enough water. It really helps. It helps your brain function, your body function, your skin doesn't feel itchy. So let's take our deep breath and check in with our own bodies. You ready? Okay. How are you feeling? Good? So the past few weeks, or this week and last week, we've been talking about, being a blank canvas. 30% of people don't have a sense of humor, how to deal with people, how to deal with yourself. You'll still get accosted at the train station. You'll still have to deal with entitled strangers. But I wanted to look at this concept of this too shall pass. Every season must end. And I just want to know why some of the worst experiences seem to make some of the best memories. I don't know if you've encountered that, but I've seen that in my own life. So like I was 2 weeks ago, standing on a train platform, sweating, wrangling bags, being interrogated by a couple of people who I don't even know. They don't really care what answers I give them. But in the moment, it feels like a tragedy. But then 2 weeks later now, it feels like a comedy. Like what happened is now like such a funny story. So I want to talk about what's called story shortening. It's an effect that can kind of bring you peace in the chaos. So, I have a rule that I want to live by. And this rule is a good experience creates a memory, but a bad experience creates a story. And everything on my cruise and my train ride, if all that went perfectly, I'd just have these beautiful memories and really nothing to talk about, no stories to share. But I feel like that special light in each one of our personalities, it shines brightest when we're recounting how we handled these difficult situations, those emotional pirates that we run into. So it's called This Too Shall Pass. It's a mental framework that allows you to stand in the middle of a mess and think, I can't wait to tell people about this later. So, I want to know the psychology behind it. Like, why does a bad experience turn into a good story? And it's called the peak end rule. So, the peak of something and the end of it. The peak end rule is a psychological concept stating that people evaluate experiences based primarily on their most intense moment, the peak, and how the experience concludes, the end, rather than the overall experience. This means the emotional highs and the final moments significantly shape our memories and judgments of certain events. So, research shows that we don't remember an entire experience. I don't remember my entire 2 weeks on a cruise ship. I don't. What am I going to remember? The most intense points, the peaks, and the end. I really do remember that, getting off the boat. The whole morning of what I did from when I had to wake up, my interaction with the room steward, deciding at the elevator to go up instead of down. And, I remember the end of my trip very well, getting off the ship. Even my route through the ship, where we were sitting and waiting, how we went down to the main floor to get off, which exit I went out of. I remember all that. I love this because it is a psychological thing. Anyway, that was too much about getting off the boat. Sorry, guys. So, when the situation eventually ends, as all seasons in our lives do, our brain reframes the friction as a victory, the friction we've encountered. The stress of the moment is usually replaced by the dopamine of the narrative arc. Do you remember this narrative we're telling ourselves in our brain? I'm not a victim on that train ride. I was in my narrative. I was the protagonist who survived that train ride and who held my boundaries and who asked a curious question and tried to direct the conversation away from just this mundane 20 questions that was being asked to us. Coffee break. So, I want to know how to do this in my everyday life. Everything I talk about on these videos, I want in my life. I want to have that peak end rule operating when I'm in these intense situations. I want to be able to be in the moment and create a situation from this situation where when I retell it later, I'm not beating myself up, kind of thing. So, this is a future narrative lens. When someone's being rude to me, or I'm in this weird interaction, I can ask myself, how am I going to tell this story tomorrow? And I think that might force me to act in a way of how I can be proud of myself in the retelling of the story, what happened. Then also, just know it's seasonal. Every interaction, everything going on in your life, it may be a long season, but everything is seasonal. Like that train ride, the season was 40 minutes for that train ride, that interaction, that awkwardness. And then, the whole way from getting to the ship to my house, 3 hours long, that little season I had to get through. So, I can label an end date, an expiration date to this season. Kind of like my daughter's in a real intense program right now, and it's a 2-year program. And the whole family's in it behind her, and we're all making sacrifices so she can get through this program. So I'm in my mind, this season, 2 years long that we have to get through this. Get that end date in your mind. So, the third way here is to do a story first response. Instead of getting angry in that moment, you can get curious. Collect the absurdities around someone's behavior, and then you're like a writer kind of taking notes for your story that you'll be telling later. I actually had something happen today where I was in the moment, these interactions, and it was getting crazy, so I stepped away. And my daughter was there, and she had to keep talking and keep the conversation going, and eventually she's like, I had to step away. So, I don't know, I need to reframe that interaction I had today in my mind to make it into a good story. Maybe I'll tell that story one of these days. So, again, I want to know what the Bible says about this idea, this peak end theory of psychology. Everything in science, I guarantee, has a biblical application. Everything that has to do with humanity. I feel like the Bible has something to say about it. So, 2 Corinthians 4:17 through 18 tells us, "For our light and momentary affliction." Our afflictions here, they're light. They're momentary. We may feel wrapped up in it and it's a huge big deal and we don't see the end coming, but the Bible promises our momentary and light afflictions is preparing us for an eternal weight of glory as we look not onto the things that are seen, but to the things that are unseen. For the things that are seen are transient. I don't know what version this one is. Definitely not King James. So, things that you see, things that you have to deal with, your afflictions in your life, everything transient. Will be blown away with the wind at some point. Kind of like that man yelling at me when I got out of the Uber, or the couple that were like grilling us as soon as we sat down on the train. Transient. It's over within minutes. Those things especially are just over within minutes. And then in Ecclesiastes 3:1, we're reminded, for everything there is a season. There's a time for every matter under the heaven. A bad season is designed to end. Your job, my job, is to just kind of weather the storm through those seasons. And I personally like to use things as learning opportunities too, don't you? I like to learn from things. Like the situation today was with a woman I had already had a learning experience with before, and I knew I didn't want to talk to that person. So I answered someone else's questions instead, and I walked away to the other people because I'm just like, I know this whole thing, how this goes. I've had experience with this, and I learned I'm not engaging. I'm going that way. So yeah, use a season. Everything, there's a season. You can learn. You can get through the season, whatever season you're in right now. I even think of this when things are going so good and everything's so wonderful and great. I go, I'm going to soak it in, enjoy it, because I know this isn't going to last forever. I wish it could. I wish just this easy life where I get to travel and my children, my husband, everyone's healthy. I'm just soaking it in, being so appreciative and really feeling that gratitude. But I know it won't be like this forever. So, and then that helps me through the bad times too. Like, oh, this is really hard what I'm going through emotionally and my family. And I know there's an end date. There's an end date. This end is coming. I can make it through. I can make this into a story of victory for myself. Like that narrative arc I was talking about. So as the architect of your own life, you know, just in general, the weather doesn't affect the blueprints. It can delay construction. It can force you to do things a different way. But in the end, there's a blueprint for our life, and it's going to, if you're a believer in God's will for your life, it's going to happen. The sun comes back. Things get better. They just do. They get worse and they get better. That's the nature of our human existence. So I was going to give myself some homework today. Think of the most frustrating thing that happened to me this week, or you. Had to have been that thing this morning. Yeah, I think that's what it was. Okay, now write it down, but write it as a comedy. This will be so easy for me. Find the humor in how absurd that situation was. Yes. Oh, and one of my resources today I'm going to go through. I'm going to do that in my resource. So we're going to turn that bad experience into our new favorite story. Are you ready? Like switch that narrative where you're like the hero of that story. Okay, So, my 3 resources I wanted to share. This is called the 3 funny things exercise. It's a variation of the 3 good things gratitude practice. I don't know if you keep a gratitude journal. It's just, it's like the basic of all gratitude journaling prompts is like write down 3 things you're grateful for each day. But now we can write down 3 absurd or funny things that happened that day. So it will get your brain into this habit of looking for the funniness in these weird things that happen to you throughout the day. Yeah, kind of calming the chaos, I guess, in your brain to reframe these things. So there is something called The Moth. It's a podcast about storytelling. You can listen how great storytellers turn their absolute worst life moments into these legendary stage performances. It really is a masterclass in the idea of this too shall pass. You can have that mindset. And it's cool to read people's stories, how they've made it through these challenging times. Then my 3rd resource, this is the one I'm going to do my homework in today. There is a tool, an app called Day One. It's, I would call it a journaling app. I pulled it up here. It looks really cool. I like this app because it makes your journal look like kind of a news feed, especially if you put pictures in it. I love the way it's designed. I haven't used this one. Oh, stinkers. I forgot to write down the one. Oh, no. The one I use is called My Diary. And you can also put pictures in it. This one, though, the layout, it looks so good. I'm probably not going to switch to this one myself because I have so much invested in my other journaling app. But you can even do a Google search or a YouTube search on videos for the benefits of journaling, especially keeping a gratitude journal. Very highly recommended. Then there was something else. This whole idea of turning these bad experiences into a good story is an example of positive reframing. So positive reframing can boost resilience, improve mental health, and foster a growth mindset by helping people view their setbacks as opportunities for growth and learning. It encourages more constructive and hopeful outlooks on your challenges, and ultimately, it just enhances your well-being. So I love this positive reframing. That's what this whole thing was about, turning that weird, like, what are they thinking, into like a funny story that you can tell yourself. So that's all I had today. I'm actually going to pull my app up and do my homework real quick before I go on. And I'm still on that Be Kind app, and I got a new prompt today about something nice to do for people today. Today's prompt is to go to a business on their website and leave a positive review. So I'm going to do that today. Find a business that I have really enjoyed and try to review them like extra positive. Put it out there. Put that kindness out there. So if anything I said today sparked a thought, please comment. I would love to interact with you on these videos. Leave a comment or a like and subscribe. So every single day is a chance to keep learning, keep growing, and become more of the wonderful person you are. The world is better with your light in it. And I just want to say thank you for sharing time with me today. I'll be here tomorrow, but until then, you have a beautiful day, and remember, you're the Lord's precious ones. Bye!